Previously, my best of picks for the first 4 seasons were The Arsenal of Freedom, Peak Performance, The Survivors and First Contact, and the choice for not so great were Angel 1, Up the Long Ladder and Menage a Troy. Let's continue with the latter half of Season 4 and my choices for the weakest of the season. Like Season 3, the 4th produced no downright terrible episodes, and it's a great complaint. The season was so strong that it boils down to least favourite. For once, a Lwaxana Troy episode, Half a Life, is not making it onto the list, and neither is Cupid. Yes, it's silly, but it's kind of fun. Suddenly Human. The Enterprise discovers a human teenager among an alien ship. The Loss. Troy loses her empathic ability after the Enterprise discovers a new life form. Final Mission. On the way to Starfleet Academy, Wesley and Picard crash land on a desert planet. Night Terrors. The Enterprise crew begin to experience hallucinations after finding a ship with all its crew dead. As weak as they were, they still all have some redeeming factors, like the Wesley-Picard interactions in Final Mission, or Troy coming to terms with her empathic loss in The Loss. But they're also guilty of some terrible moments. Troy flying in Night Terrors, and the ultimate Mary Sue that is Wesley Crusher. But my least favourite of the season is Devil's Due. The Enterprise arrives at Fantaxia to find that the devil has appeared to enslave the world. The issue I had with this one was as soon as the episode's premise is laid out, Picard refuses to consider that Ardra is any sort of evil entity and sets out to prove she is just a con artist. This immediately removes any mystery, as you spend the entire episode waiting for him to prove his theory, which results in no real commitment to the story and ultimate disappointment as you knew was coming all along. On a side note, this episode was originally written for the Star Trek Phase 2 series that never happened in the 70s. Paramount instead opting to make feature films. Although Season 5 continued to produce many excellent episodes, it was not as strong as the previous 2 seasons. Series producer Michael Piller attributed this in part to the structure of the season, that there was too many personal episodes done in one block and too many political ones in another, instead of spacing them out with the more sci-fi episodes. For example, the politically charged Redemption and Unification were only separated by a few episodes. Personal ones like New Ground, Hero Worship and Violations were shown back to back. However, Season 5 not only saw Picard don the cool jacket as part of the new uniform, but also produced some brilliant episodes. Redemption, the concluding part of Worf's clearing his family name. Darmok, Picard is stranded on a planet with an alien who only speaks in metaphors. Ensign Ro, the Enterprise is tasked to hunt down a Bajoran terrorist cell, the Maquis, with the help of a troubled officer, Ro Laren. Unification. The original series meets the Next Generation as Spock attempts to unite Vulcan and Romulus. A Matter of Time. The Enterprise encounters a time traveller from the 26th century, but soon realise something is not quite right with their guest. Conundrum. The crew have their memories wiped by a race who want to use the Enterprise to help them defeat their enemy. Cause and Effect. The Enterprise is caught in a time loop, resulting in the destruction of the ship each time. The First Duty. The Enterprise is recalled to Earth as Wesley's Academy squadron is under investigation. The Perfect Mate. The Enterprise is on a diplomatic mission with precious cargo. When the cargo turns out to be an empathic woman, complications arise. Borg. The Enterprise brings on board a wounded Borg with the intention of infecting it with a virus that could destroy the entire collective. The Next Phase. Presumed killed in a transporter accident, Geordi and Rome must figure out a way to contact the Enterprise crew. The Inner Light. After encountering an alien probe, Picard wakes up on a distant planet, thousands of years in the past. Not only a highlight of the season, but of the entire series. But my pick for Season 5 is Ethics. When Worf is paralysed in an accident, he asks Riker to assist him to commit suicide. This was another episode that broke one of the cardinal rules of Gene Roddenberry's Bible. There shall be no serious interpersonal conflict. The fact that was pretty much ignored here is a real strength for the episode. It's a very compelling one as we get to see so many different points of view, not only from Riker and Worf, but Troy, Crusher and Dr. Russell, who wants to perform the controversial life-saving operation. By validating each character argument makes it difficult to know what the right thing to do is, and that is fascinating storytelling. One gripe I have with this one is the end of the episode where we see Worf in rehab, but the very next episode he's perfectly fine. I know it's episodic television, but it would have been more realistic had they at least shown him recover over a couple of episodes. Season 5 did produce some weak episodes, among them The Game. Mary Sue visits the Enterprise while on leave from the Academy and finds the crew all addicted to a strange visual game. I never bought this one because I never truly believed Picard would actually fall for it. New Ground. Unable to cope anymore, Worf's parents send his son, Alexander, to the Enterprise. The Masterpiece Society. The Enterprise is sent to a colony of genetically altered perfect humans to rescue them from an impending planetary disaster. Imaginary Friend. A child's imaginary friend alarms the crew when it turns out the friend is real. But the truly awful episode of the season, unfortunately once again, goes to Lwaxana Troi in Cost of Living. Lwaxana returns to the Enterprise and interferes in Deanna's and Worf's attempts to teach Alexander. It's such a shame that the character of Lwaxana was written like this, and not just for this episode, but all of them she appears in. Everything written for her fails on every level. Other than Season 4's Half a Life, the only other episode I like her in was Deep Space Nine's The Forsaken. Back to the Cost of Living, and the holodeck scenes are so bad and have aged horribly, and then the dreadful mud bath scene at the end. It looks like something that would have aired during the first or second season. It's that corny. There is a B-plot of the Enterprise in danger, which is nothing more than filler, though credit where it's due. The visual effects at the start are well done, and the scene with Lwaxana talking about loneliness is poignant enough. But as a whole, the episode is forgettable and pretty much insufferable. Season 6 was a decent season, but I felt while watching it the producer's focus was shifting more to Deep Space Nine as the weaker episodes were becoming more prevalent now. Saying that, a lot of good episodes too. Relics. Once again, the original series meets the next generation, where Scotty helps rescue the Enterprise from a Dyson sphere. Schisms. Several crew members are being abducted by aliens and experimented on while they sleep. An excellent episode, which also includes the unforgettable Data's Ode to Spot. True Q. A young scientist boards the Enterprise and begins to show signs of the powers of the Q continuum. Chain of Command. On a secret mission, Picard is captured and tortured by the Cardassians. Ship in a Bottle. In this follow-up to Seasons 2 Elementary Dear Data, Reg unwittingly releases Professor Moriarty. Face of the Enemy. Troi is surgically altered to look like a Romulan. Tapestry. Q returns, giving Picard the choice to go back in time to rewrite history so he won't have to be fitted with a mechanical heart. Starship Mine. During a routine ship decontamination, with all the crew disembarked except for Picard, a criminal gang take over the Enterprise and it's up to the captain to take the ship back. Lessons. Picard begins a relationship with a member of the crew, leading him to look deeper into his personal and professional life. The Chase. Picard's old professor arrives on board and reveals a startling science-shattering discovery. Rightful Heir. While meditating on a Klingon retreat, Kahless appears to Worf. Timescape. Picard, Data, Troi and Geordi return to the Enterprise only to find it frozen in time, where time moves at different rates. But my pick is Frame of Mind. Riker finds himself unable to determine reality from nightmare as he finds himself going from his duties on board the Enterprise to an alien mental institute. Jonathan Frakes gives it his all in this episode, as it's easily his best performance of the series. It's also one of the darkest and creepiest episodes as well. The writing here is top notch, utilising surreal imagery with eerie elements, namely Riker doubting his own sanity. The episode stirs up a lot of emotion while watching it because it's so powerful and off-putting. Season 6 in general was a much more unsettling season with episodes like Chain of Command and Schisms, but writer Brannon Braga really knocked it out of the park with this intense piece of work about someone doubting their own sense of reality. The weaker episodes of Season 6 included Realm of Fear. Red returns and during a routine transport sees something as he's dematerializing. This was always a nitpick for me, as the transporter deconstructs you, so how can you see? Man of the People. Troi begins to behave abnormally while the Enterprise is on a diplomatic mission. Rascals. A transporter accident reverts Picard, Guinan, Ro and Keiko to preteen. The Quality of Life. Data realises that robotic mining tools are beginning to show signs of sentience. These are not terrible episodes by any stretch, and each have their moments, save one which is my choice for the definite worst of the season. Aquiel. Geordi falls for a woman suspected of murder. What a horrible episode. The idea is quite good, but the execution is dreadful. The romance falls apart as there is no chemistry between the characters, and the Klingon misdirection is obvious. The whole episode is torturous, and just when you think it can't get any worse, the dog did it. With Deep Space Nine going from strength to strength and production on the first Next Generation feature film beginning, Season 7 really dropped the ball, and it's easily the weakest in Season 2. It still had some good to great episodes, of course, like Gambit. Picard is apparently murdered and the crew begin their investigation in this two-parter. Spoiler alert, he's not really dead. Attached. After being captured during a mission, Picard and Crusher have implants embedded in them, enabling them to hear each other's thoughts. Inheritance. Data meets his mother, who helped build him and Lore years earlier. Parallels. Worf finds himself shifting between alternate realities. The Pegasus. Riker's old captain returns, saying he's found the long-lost USS Pegasus, where Riker previously served. Preemptive strike. Ensign Ro was tasked in finding a Maquis base, but ultimately joins them. All Good Things, the series finale. Picard finds himself in the past, present and future as he has to decipher a threat to humanity's very existence. But my pick for the final season is Lower Decks, a look at 4 junior officers and how they interact with the senior crew. Just a brilliant idea, seeing the daily life aboard the Enterprise from a different perspective, and the friendships of the ensigns, which brings them closer together with the tragic outcome of the episode. I loved when the Next Generation would bring back plots from previous episodes, and here of course we get Ensign Sito from Season 5's The First Duty. Picard's dressing down of her is fantastic as Worf gives her the courage to face what's ahead. When Picard tells her that he personally asked for her to be assigned to the Enterprise, makes it all more heartbreaking when she's killed. The one oddity here is the addition of Barman Ben, clearly written for Whoopi Goldberg's Guinan. I guess she wasn't available. Still, it doesn't take anything away from this terrific hour of Star Trek, a story of friendship, honour, loyalty and sacrifice. As mentioned, with Deep Space Nine going full steam ahead and production beginning on the first Next Generation film, Season 7 saw some bad to dreadful episodes produced. Dark Page, Roxana Troy is in a coma, and I'm just leaving that there. Force of Nature, the crew discover that warp drive is causing damage to a planet's ecosystem. Homeward, Worf's half-brother basically devises the plot of Star Trek Insurrection. Masks, the Enterprise starts to transform into an ancient Egyptian-type civilization. Genesis, Picard and Data find the crew of the Enterprise have devolved to primitive versions of themselves. Emergence, the ship's computer develops a conscious intelligence. But the dubious honour of not only the worst of the season, but up there with the worst of the series, is Sub Rosa. Dr. Crusher has ghost sex with her grandmother's lover, but not before being turned on by the erotic adventures of her grandmother. Let that sink in for a second. This episode isn't just bad, it brings bad to whole new levels. It's so awful that when I originally saw it in 1994, I turned it off and watched it sometime later on video, as I used to record all the episodes. To this day I find it difficult to watch, as the entire debacle is just an embarrassment. It takes an intelligent professional like Dr. Crusher and turns her into a Bella from Twilight in 5 minutes. It makes no sense. I'm genuinely surprised Gates McFadden agreed to it. A truly ludicrous excuse for an episode that I'm amazed got greenlit. It's the Next Generation trying to do gothic hammer horror and failing badly. So there you have it, 7 seasons, 178 episodes. At its peak, hitting 12 million viewers a season, the series finale, All Good Things, had a viewership of 30 million. It deservedly goes down in the annals of Star Trek lore as one of the greatest series ever produced. The key ideal of the Next Generation was one of respect, and so many social issues were intelligently handled by the show. It proved that by using a humanist structure, ethical issues can be explored in a sophisticated way. The show's conceptual idea offered valuable lessons about humanity and never forgot its core value of optimism and hope for the future. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, Hailing Frequencies closed. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell too. Thank you.